Hello, this is Sirrano Keith Baldeo, the candidate for Dallas, councilman for Dallas District 10. Today I'm standing in front of the former Academy Sports building that is no longer occupied. One of the reasons that you are a councilman in your district is you try to find investors and investments for businesses that has been closed down. This place has been closed down for about 2 years. Over there, to the right of me, is Home Depot, and on the other side is where the encampment for the homeless people were. I don't know if anybody heard about the encampment problems, but I'm the one who actually gave the law and the policies to the police department to have them move that encampment and actually seal it off, gated it off. All of this is put in a complaint and a brief to the Dallas Police Department. 10 days or about 12 days later, they took action based on the legislative reminder that already existed that I gave it to them, including the right of way. Today I had a woman, while I was out campaigning, told me that under this current councilman, things have been looking better over there in Walnut Hill. But I reminded her that in 2019, the FBI considered District 10 one of the most dangerous districts, the most dangerous districts in Dallas District 10, in Dallas County, Dallas City. And you can Google that. The story's in the Dallas Morning News, who happened to endorse my failed opponent. And so I contacted the FBI, and they told me the councilman has nothing to do with the FBI. Their office really don't speak to one another. That he has no business interfering with the work of the FBI, so there's no connection there. So that is incorrect that he actually did that. I also spoke to the Dallas Police Department, and they told me that the councilman is the councilman separated from the police department. The police department is a separate entity from the legislative body and does their own work. So if you see any improvement in crime or anything in the city, which there isn't, we have the violent crime rate is up for the 3rd year, the 10th year actually. It's if there's any credit, it goes to the Dallas Police Department, but there actually is no credit. In some areas there are, but it doesn't have to do with policing. It has to do with developing and businesses wanting to invest there and clean up the place. And when I asked those businesses, they said, well, we contacted the councilman and we got no response from him. We took action ourselves. So let's clear that up, that when I investigated all of that, he had nothing to do with these things. So the purpose of coming in front of this empty building, and this is not the only one, the JCPenney building opposite the other Home Depot is closed. These are giant buildings. The Pier Import is closed. La Fina, I think, restaurant closed. A lot of other different restaurants closed. This has been reported by the online newspaper. We're not going to call their names. So we have a lot of businesses closed in the city, in the District 10. But here's the issue. When you have a councilman that sits doing nothing, you're gonna have this is years sitting here doing nothing, empty. I don't even know if we're getting taxes on it, because you own the property, you gotta pay taxes. So sometimes when a business is empty, there's really no tax, you can't collect taxes on it. There's certain steps they take to get away from that. I don't have access to go into their records yet, but a visionary. You know, the Bible says, where there is no vision, the people fail. There is no vision for this building. There's no vision for the JCPenney building. There's no vision for all the other businesses that closed down before the COVID-19. There's no vision for that, at least from the sitting councilman and anybody else that is in the city. So I do have a vision for these buildings. I remember a mall in Paterson, New Jersey. They were trying to fill that mall, and they started advertising to giant businesses to fill the spaces in the mall. It's a process to reach out to these businesses and sell them this location, JCPenney location, Pure Import location, and the other restaurants and other places that you have to sell. You have to have a vision of not just selling this building. You have to have a vision of selling the area. When Home Depot got a $5+ million corporate welfare check from you taxpayers signed by this and other councilmen, they go into an area and they survey the area. They look at the buying power. They look at the poverty and the wealth of the community, and the social psychology of what goes on in that community. And then they realize, look, we can dig here. It's like a gold mine. We can dig here and we'll find gold. We'll find people to buy into our business. And that's what you have to consider when you look at these businesses. I don't have the legislative power right now, and I don't have the position to say to a business, look, come down here and here's what I can offer you. But as a councilman, I can do that. The minute you call a corporation or a business or an entity or even an educational system, a training system, job training system, the workforce system, and you start talking about this as a civilian, they're not going to listen to me. But as a councilman of one of the most powerful cities in Texas, one of the cities in Texas, they will listen. When a councilman calls you, makes a big difference. Because you're not just calling, the city is calling, the city manager is calling, because this conversation has to be had with the city manager as well. You can't just say, look, I want to bring something in here. But this is my plan, to make these businesses active again, to bring in resources, this is what you call rateables. This is what these candidates don't understand, and a councilman sitting in District 10 don't understand. Rateables means less taxes for you. The more income we have, the less we charge you. The smaller we make the government, the less we charge you. But right now, they're keeping the government fat. They're going to keep the government fat. They're going to keep all these corporate welfare in place. They're going to keep it, and they're going to come after you for the $73 million they're short on. So watch out for that. Watch out for that. I am pre-warning you. The mayor, Mike Rollins warned you a long time ago about Adam Magoo raising the taxes so he can appease people that he wants the endorsement from. But he hurt a lot of people. He hurt us. He hurt you, the taxpayers. He hurt you, the homeowners. He hurt you, the renters, because when we raise taxes on those property, they raise your rent. Make sure you understand that. So I'm out here to explain to you what is happening. If you re-elect Adam Magoo, Saturday is the last day of voting, May 1st. This is going to stay. Nothing is going to happen here. It'll be here for years. JCPenney will be there for years. If you're lucky, somebody will come down and see that the encampment and the homeless and the buying power of this, they're going to look at what happens at this Home Depot here. And if they see that the Home Depot make a certain amount of profit, then it's like selling your home. The value of your home, the value of what you buy or sell goes up or down. And so that's what these businesses look for. And nobody explains this because nobody understands it. This is what economics is about. This is what budgeting is about. So this building is going to remain for another whole bunch of years. I'm not sure I'm going to run another 2 years, because when you get hit with these taxes in the next 2 years, there is nothing somebody else can do to bring that back. It will be a very, very tough job for somebody to save District 10 going into the same wave of failures, going to the same wave of waiting for other people to do something and then taking credit for it. It will be the same. And so the councilman is going to be out. That's why I took this race, because this is the defining moment. This is the pivotal point. There was a previous police chief that wanted to run for the city of Patterson, and we were friends. And he said, I can run this 4 years, but I will not run the next 4 years because there would be so much damage. No one can bring the city back. And that's exactly what happened. He ran. They didn't want him. They wanted the guy they knew. And he hugs them, kissed them, and tell them all these sweet lies and nothing, like Adam Magoo does. And he didn't make it. And 4 years later, I said, Chief, are you going to run? And he said, absolutely not. I told you. There was nothing that could be done with the damage of the 4 years. There is nothing can be done with the damage of keeping Adam Magoo for another 2 years. Once that $73 million hit, once we lose all this rateables, once we do not start filling these empty buildings and lobbying businesses to come in and bring up that rateables and start building up this community to a standard where it can perform better than the other districts. Do you hear anybody else speaking like this? Do you hear anybody else coming to you? Is Adam Magoo coming to you with these visions and ideas of failure and success? Because he knows he can't make this successful. He can't make all these closed business successful. That's why he can't. Even in a lie, he could have said something, but he can't. I've been a president of a newspaper. I've read hundreds of thousands of pages of documents from the government, monitoring and watching them. I'm very well experienced. They say you have 10,000 hours in something, you're an expert. I've got about 140,000 hours in this field, this political field, watching contracts, negotiations, ordinances, laws, zoning, all that kind of stuff that affects all these business. You may have to change zoning. So make sure you understand when you vote that you're voting for the same thing you got, but you're not voting for Adam Magoo. Whoever did something, and then he comes and he takes credit and says, well, you know, in District 10, we had this situation and we solve it. Okay, so when you ask the police department, did Adam Magoo have anything to do with solving that? They go, no, he didn't. Well, did he give you an idea? Did he give you a plan? Like I gave them the plan to remove the law to remove the encampment. Did he give you anything? No, Mr. Magoo worked separately. He has no plan or anything to help the police department. We did this on our own, and that's how it becomes. He steals the work of good men and say it's his own. When I talk about the LBJ highway that he keeps stealing credit for, and the Dallas Morning News keeps giving him credit for, well, I called the state. And I asked the state, did Adam Magoo ever come down to you and made an influence to help that? And they said, absolutely not. There was a few council members that came down. I don't know. They didn't know if he was one of them. They tried to have a conversation with the state because the state is running that right now. And the state says, we appreciate you coming, but this is our deal. So when he comes and he says, well, I helped this and I did it, he didn't. Maybe take a ride in the backseat of somebody's car and, when part of the conversation. But the decision making, the creative ideas, to bringing new things. 6 years and nothing. I am talking to you. I am here with you. I'm trying to explain to you, when elected, I will still be here with you. We will be talking about this. We will be having meetings about this. I will tell you who I reached out to in my elected position. I would tell you. I would help the negotiation when they were building the affordable housing over here on 75. He deemed it a poverty housing. So I looked at the fine print and I said, this is actually not a poverty housing. This is not even Section 8 or anything. So why was he rejecting it? Because somebody screamed in his head, hey, this is a homeless and this is it wasn't. It had a swimming pool, business center, security. It was good. So then the guy goes online and says, I reached out to Mr. Magoo so many times, sending so many emails, got no response from him, and now the city voted that it will go forward. He's now running with his group that thinks all minorities are criminals to stop it. We're not criminals. We're very smart. Minorities are very smart people. We care about our community. We don't want the racism. I don't want a racist over me. And I told him that. I told him his stance on the Confederacy, monuments, it's good, but keep it in a monument place. He didn't want to, he wanted a public place. Told him to stand on blocking immigrants from serving on the boards in the city of Dallas. That's racism. Told him about he has all his signs from the police in the white community, but nothing in the black community. That's your racism. And it goes on. I'm not going to waste my time with him, but I'm going to tell you this. You have one chance in this election. You have one shot Saturday to tell your friends, and I don't care what where you from. I don't care if you're white, green. My wife happens to be white. We're cross borders because we live in the top of Lake Highland, and most of, she doesn't really represent white folks because she married a minority. We have a mixed marriage, and we share the concerns of both communities. That's what's happening. We share that concern, the safety and the development. We share that. The concerns, we share that. So that's what I wanted to explain to you today. A new vision. Something to change, something to actually look forward to, work to be done, work to be done. When people are voting for officials or candidates, I tell them, there is two kind of boots they wear. One is the shiny boots when they get it, and one is the work boots once they get it. I wear work boots. I'm out here. I was talking to some people today and they said, I'm going to vote for you. And I said, why? Because you're out here talking to us. And as a president of a newspaper, the funny thing is, this is what I do. I come out here and I talk to people. It's COVID, so I'm staying away from the people. I came because I wanted to have this as a backdrop. So understand that your vote is more than just, I like the guy, I met the guy, I know him for 6 years. I understand that. This is the battle Jesus had to face. We knew the scribes, the Pharisees, and this Jesus character is coming to tell us, what he thinks is right. I know this. But I appeal to your sense of security, your sense of wisdom, your sense of understanding, that if Adam Magoo made the comment that I don't know how to read the budget in a public meeting, I know how to read the budget. Paper, it's very simple. Income, spending. But it just get a little complex when you have to put all the departments in place. But that's where the work comes in. That's why you elect us, to do the work, to be the brain, to be the smart one, to say, okay, here's the income, here's the spending. We can't afford to be spending anymore. Dallas Morning News, you got to cut $2 million, and you can keep the $1.3 million for legal services. How? But that's why they trash me. That's why they want to stop me. Because they know if I ever get in there, all the people that is benefiting financially and otherwise from Adam Magoo is going to find themselves in a very tough situation. And that's why I believe that they're sending people to rip down my signs. I don't think I'm a threat to Adam Magoo in the sense. I think my only blessing here is Christ and Christ alone, to do for me what the Father did for Gideon and to appeal to you guys. I think they're ripping it down because they hate me running against him. I think that's half of it. We hate you running against him. We're going to destroy your sign. And then the other part of that is we finally see you as a threat to Adam Magoo, and that's going to disrupt the money, the financing, the favoritism that we enjoy, while everybody else suffer. So that's kind of why I'm running. I wish I had somebody else to run, but you know what? When God can find somebody else, he sends Jesus Christ. Jesus lost. That's the sad part of trying to convince myself that you could win this election. Because, did you guys ever look at the read about Jesus? They actually had a vote. There was a public vote where people went out to vote. Either you vote for good Jesus to run things, or you vote for because Jesus was freed, he would have run things, or you vote for Barabbas. And he lost. Jesus lost the vote. After the election was over, they tallied it. Well, look, he's got a little votes and Barabbas got a whole bunch of votes, so Barabbas won. And I'm saying, Lord, how am I supposed to use this strength in that? So do I lose to win? Is that what it is? You can't win for losing. But you can win for losing, because if you hadn't lost, who knows where that would have gone. But so I have to think, if I'm following the steps of Christ, I don't know what his plan is. I can only hope it is to win the seat, so that the Islamic radical over there that is working with Adam Magoo right now, I don't know how Islam got into this election. They're feeding him information. He's supporting their destruction of me as a Christian because I oppose them presenting the jihad in Paterson, New Jersey, where some of the 9/11 attackers come from. Adam Magoo got that. He's a lawyer. He should have called there. And then he should have said, look, I know we're running against each other, but I got this thing about you. Can we talk about this? He didn't. He fed it. Tried to humiliate me, not knowing this was a free speech thing that I said to defend my wife. And I said they can't be chasing my wife. They should be investigated too. That's a criminal charge. Can you believe that? Warrant. Because I missed a Zoom call. So Adam Magoo doesn't care about me or any other constituents. He's greedy for power. He's greedy for the money. He's hungry for the position. This is a man who said he left his wife for 2.5 years to come into Paterson and grab this position and take it for 2.5 years, while he's admitting, I left my wife for 2.5 years. I would never leave my wife to come to Texas while I'm in New Jersey trying to figure this stuff out. Never. What kind of character, what kind of greedy man would abandon his wife for 2.5 years and admit it publicly? Well, I think he had to admit it because either you admit you abandoned them, or they were really living with you in Dallas while they were illegally going to school in Highland Park. One of those things is the truth. There was nothing in the middle here. One of those things is the truth. Either you defrauded the school system with their whole family living here, or you really left your wife and kids to go to school in Highland Park and lived here for 2.5 years by yourself because you were so greedy and hungry for power. And that's the guy I'm up against. That's why they're setting me up and putting all this knife BS and trying to do all these distractions. So we cannot talk about this. I prepared a whole campaign questionnaire for him, and this was on it. What are we going to do about these buildings? When I was the president of a newspaper, there were 7 buildings in that city, and I said to the mayor, what are you going to do about these buildings? We're working on it. Well, it's 4 years later. We're working on it. 6 years later, we're working on it. So in the meeting with the Dallas Morning News, that's what Adam Magoo said after 6 years. Well, we're just starting to work on it. 6 years? I guarantee you, and I want you to keep this tape. It'll be another 6 years. And when he's out of office, I'm going to ask you guys, is he still working on it? Because it hasn't been done. Nothing's been done. I know how to talk to people about this. I know how to talk to developers, contractors, solicit businesses. I used to be a president of a newspaper. I used to solicit advertisement for my newspaper. It's not hard to solicit people and try to, negotiate and debate with them of the benefits that they will get with these buildings, the benefit. So understand strongly, if you haven't voted yet, if you voted, I can't help you, to get out to the polls and make a right choice. Listen, he had 6 years. He had 6 years and nothing. Just give me a chance. Give me a chance to see what I can do. Okay? Just one chance. This is where I'm fired up. This is where my passion, this election is my passion. Passion of Christ, passion of me, trying to help you do the right thing, get into the public, get you guys in the meetings, work together, collaborate, negotiate, just get things done. Get the safety thing under control. So that's our conversation. I already looked at an office space. And our office space is big enough to have public meetings twice a week. Look, a publisher is my job. I'm free. Every time Adam Magoo has to do something, he sends his wife to pick the number. He sent another guy to, by the way, the lady that was taking pictures of me, I remember we debated 2 years ago because he failed to show up. He sent one of another guy he gave a job to debate with White Rock Democrats for him. Everywhere he picks these people to go, they benefit. He never shows up. I am here. And I want you to understand that we don't lose this election. I am going to be here. I'm going to be here for you. We're going to continue a fight. I will have to go after him if he's in that seat, because the power of that seat is what's going to help District 10 in Dallas. And if you don't give me the power of that seat, all I can do is talk. And like they said when I was the president of a newspaper, Sirrano, you keep talking, you keep publishing all this corruption, you keep publishing all these incompetence, but why don't you do something? Why don't you do something? Why don't you run for office? Well, we did the surveys on my Facebook page. 82% showed they would have made me mayor of the city of Dallas. This is a little position for me. I know the city council, like the back of my hand. I know what to do with it. He doesn't, because he just sits back and enjoys the seat. That's what you give it to him for. Hang out, come meet you guys, have lunch, But this is a work seat, and I hope you understand that. Willing to work, willing to be out here, willing to talk to people, and find out what the issues are. Willing to bring you in a meeting twice a week and talk to you, maybe once a week, maybe, I don't know. See how much meetings are right here in District 10, so you don't have to go downtown. Right here, I'm right here. We can talk, we can figure this out. Mr. Sirrano, thanks for watching, and bye for now.